January 29, 1258, the city of prosperity and civilization, Baghdad, fell into the hands of the Mongols. The Mongols killed and slaughtered 1 million people in Baghdad, children and women, elders and men. The Baghdad library was burned. The Tigris River was colored blue. Hundreds of scientific achievements were burned and destroyed. Tragedy will befall the holy cities. Who will save Islam? At that difficult time, the Mamluks in Egypt declared a state of emergency throughout the Sultanate. It is time to fight. It is time to stop the Mongol advance and defend Islam. Assalamu alaikum, my brothers and sisters. Welcome back to a new episode of my Ancestor series. In this video, we'll talk about the Mamluks. Who is the Mamluks? Where are they came from, and how they founded their state and how it ended. After the Islamic conquest of Central Asia, the Abbasids began importing the Turks and making them guards and soldiers for the Caliphate. This approach continued for hundreds of years, and the Ayyubids also imported thousands of Mamluks. The word Mamluk means a young slave coming from Central Asia, because they have strong ability, which makes them strong warriors, as they are trained ideologically and militarily. Where Sultan Najmuddin Ayyub built a special castle for them in Egypt. After the death of Najmuddin Ayyub, his son Turan Shah took charge of the crusade against Egypt in 1249 in the city of Mansoura. He captured the king of France, Louis IX, but he attributed that victory to himself, ignoring the main rule of the Mamluks. He replaced the Mamluk princes with Ayyubid princes. This upset the Mamluks, so they killed him. They chose Shajarat al-Dur as Sultana over the Ayyubid state, but the public in Egypt did not like this matter, and the Abbasid Caliph also wrote to them mockingly, "If you run out of men, tell us though that we can send a man to you." After 80 days of Shajarat al-Dur's rule, she was deposed under the pressure of the Abbasid Caliphate and the anger of people. She married Aktai Bey, who became the Sultan, and then the rule passed from the Ayyubids to the Mamluks in the year 1250, and in this way the Islamic Mamluk state began. 13th century, a nascent force emerged from northern China, sweeping the world at enormous speed. The Mongols destroyed the Khwarezmian state, and 200,000 people of Samarkand were slaughtered after their surrender. 90% of the Muslim Turks were slaughtered in the Khwarezm Empire. Years later, the Seljuk state and Baghdad fell in the year 1258, then Aleppo and Damascus. The next destination for the Mongols was the holy cities and Egypt, where the Mongols sent a message to Sultan Saifuddin Qutuz that he must submit to them, and reminded him that his fate would be like the rest of the countries and peoples that met with complete destruction and slaughter. Saifuddin Qutuz responded by killing their messengers and hanging their heads in Cairo, and he announced a general mobilization in the Sultanate, where he gathered 24,000 fighters from the Sultanate. Then he moved his army to the Ain Jalut Valley in northern Palestine, where he stood in front of his army and raised their morale, saying, "There is no option to retreat from the fight. Your fate and the fate of your wife and children will be killed." The fateful battle of Ain Jalut broke out on September 3, 1260. The Mamluk vanguards joined forces with the Mongols to surround them, crush them and smash them, and kill the army commander. After hours of fight, the Mamluks finally win at the battle and save the region and the Sultanate, and millions of souls in the Sultanate. It is one of the gods' days. Historians say that the defeat of Mongols in Ain Jalut not only saved Islam but also saved Europe, as it is difficult for Europe to deal with the enemy from three axes: Spain and Constantinople, Russia and Ukraine. The Mamluks put an end to the Mongols' transgressions, and it's only a few years until the Mamluks expelled the Mongols from the Levant in the First and Second Battle of Homs, and Al-Bustan Battle and Shakhab Battle in 1303. The fall of Mamluks in the year of 1516, under the rays of the sun shining on the green plains of the Majd Darq in northern Syria, Sultan Salim I gave his signal to the artillery to hand over the Mamluk legions. The Ottomans won a crushing victory over the Mamluks, and the Mamluk Sultan Khan Soulburi fell dead in the battle, so that the Ottomans entered Syria, and a year later the Ottomans were victorious against the Mamluks in the Battle of Raidaniya. The Ottomans entered Cairo in 1517. After the battle, Sultan Selim I allowed the Mamluks to rule and manage Egypt under the name of the Ottomans, and their rule continued until the year of 1811, when the governor of Egypt, Muhammad Ali Pasha, executed the Mamluk leaders in the famous Castle Massacre. The page is turned on a state that protected Islam and Muslims and defeated the Mongols and the Crusaders.